Ladies and gentlemen, it's the most wonderful time of the week. Once again, a segment with our good friend, founder of Daily Kos, the largest online progressive community, the founder of Civics with a Q, and also the host of The Brief, the brand new, very, very popular podcast growing every day. Be sure to check it out weekly. Markos Melitsas is here with us. Hey, buddy, how are you?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm cool, making a little sense. I hope we've got some breaking news on this Thursday. Breyer is retiring, and I guess he's retiring on his own. There's no evidence that Biden negotiated a retirement with some financial payout, like Kennedy, right? Anthony Kennedy. We don't have any evidence of that, do
Not as far as I know.
we?
He should have retired last year. So
Mm,
this is definitely one of those situations where hurry up, and get off that bench because all we need to do is lose one senator, and it's the game's up, right? McConnell will block this thing for the next 2 years and keep that seat open.
yeah,
So
yeah.
and he's said as much. He's already promised as
Hmm.
much. So I don't. Breyer sticking this late. I mean, everybody loves RBG and God bless her, but she should not have waited to retire.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost us Roe v. Wade and other rights. And Breyer, waiting this long is the height of idiocy and irresponsibility, and I think it really tarnishes his legacy that he endangered. I mean, he's putting us in danger of a 7-2 conservative majority, and forget it. That's it. Game's over. So
Yeah.
I don't. I
Yeah.
don't. So I know I was. It's like relief. It's like now hurry up. And good thing is Schumer's talking about following the same timeline that McConnell did in the last pick, right? The the Gorsuch pick, I think, right? The last one? No. It was
Barrett.
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 Barrett. Yeah, and doing it like within a month. Like none of this collegiality and comedy and whatever. Just ram it through. That's the new game.
And yeah, I mean that's probably what we need. But someone, I think Ryan Grimm tweeted that there's no point doing it. Just why don't you just call Manchin and ask who he's going to support, because it might go that way. You think Manchin and Sinema are going to give us a hard time on this one?
Well, the number one pick right now, and I don't have I'm blanking her name. She was just
Uh,
appointed to the DC Circuit Court last year.
Katanji
I,
Brown. There's Katanji
yeah,
Brown Jackson,
yeah, Brown
right?
Jackson.
Hmm.
And is it Brown Jackson that her last? Is it a hyphenated last name? Brown Jackson.
I don't know. I don't know if it's hyphenated. Honestly,
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
So let's stick with Brown Jackson for safety's sake
Okay. Okay.
until we confirm. Um, she was just confirmed last year, and Sinema and Manchin voted for her, but also so did Lindsey Graham, Susan Collins, and Lisa Murkowski. So theoretically, there might be there. I mean, not that they're not beyond being hypocritical about it, but I would hope that at least Collins and Murkowski will still stick around if one of the others, this does, Manchin or Cinema decide to be a-holes about it.
Well, yes. Senators Manchin, according to Joyce Vance on Twitter, both Senators Manchin and Sinema voted for D.C. Circuit Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, who got 53 votes when she was confirmed in 2021. It will be hard to explain voting against her now after voting for her so recently. Um, and I know the Obama people had vetted her at one time too.
So I will
So
say that Manchin, Cinema is irrational, right? Nobody's going to pretend to understand what goes through her mind. Manchin generally has voted for everybody Supreme Court justices. He's voted for Republican ones, and he's voted for Democratic ones. So yeah, he's so addicted to attention, I think, that he might want to create some drama for the sake of bringing back his media scrum. But
mhm.
um, he hasn't. I mean, his philosophy seems to have been let the president pick who he wants, and hopefully that continues. Cinema, who the heck knows? Who the heck knows?
And you were right. It appears that Susan Collins Lisa Murkowski, and Lindsey Graham
Weirdly enough.
also voted for Ketanji Brown Jackson. Her Now here's what's interesting, folks. Her husband, she's Paul Ryan's sister-in-law. I'm not sure
Wait,
how that
what?
works. I'm not sure whether that's her husband, is his brother.
Whoa, what?
Uh
Wait, what?
you didn't know that? Hold on, hold on.
Plot
Let me
twist.
get this, no, let me get this right. Folks, we're doing this in real time on the show. Wait a minute. We're just talking. Ketanji Brown Jackson husband. Uh According to this, Patrick Jackson, her husband, is the twin brother of former Speaker of the House Paul Ryan's brother-in-law.
Oh,
So
okay,
she's
okay,
married
okay.
to Paul Ryan's brother-in-law, and he's the twin
Okay.
brother
All right.
of the brother-in-law.
All right. That's about 3 steps removed. So, not that anybody doubts her credentials. She's amazing. She's solid. She's going to be a great justice. So I'm kind of excited to see her on the court.
And well, let's also acknowledge that Biden has to nominate a black woman. I
He
mean,
said
that's
he
the
would. He just he reiterated yesterday that he would. I mean, there's no drama involved. This is
yeah, that's what I'm
it's
saying. But I'm saying because he
yeah.
said it, he has to do it. He can't not
Yeah,
do it.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, this is. There's. I don't think there's any controversy now. The if you want to call it controversy, this stupidity is coming from some people, like Bill Kristol, who are saying that they should appoint Kamala Harris, and then that way Joe Biden can nominate Mitt Romney for a national unity candidate, and stupid things like that. In fact, some liberal commentators have suggested Harris for the Supreme Court. Also dumb.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that floating around, but I don't. I think if this moves quickly, I hope. I know there's going to be some kind of announcement tomorrow or today. No,
Mm-hmm.
it's today that Biden is going to be making an announcement with Breyer. Hopefully, they just announce it and they can just put an end to all this kind of ridiculous speculation that has been rampant all since Breyer's announcement yesterday.
The yeah, so this has to happen, and he made that promise. And we also know that um I mean he that's why the question came up in the press conference last week he held, where he was asked whether he was going to keep Kamala on the ticket. And that came right before the question about, his dwindling numbers when it comes to black voters. And he reiterated, black voters brought me I needed. So he's got to do that. So if these numbers hold that confirmed her the first time, they shouldn't be an issue. Like you said,
Yeah,
Sinema's going to do what she's going to do, whatever that is.
I don't see Markowski not voting against her this time. Murkowski's not McConnell's lapdog partisan. She'll break, and she did on that vote already. So Collins is more of a Collins has a grudge, right? Because she was targeted so heavily, and so she's got it out for Schumer. So I don't quite. I'll never trust her. And of course Lindsey Graham's not going to vote. I mean, it would be just be shocking if Lindsey Graham decides to vote for her again for Supreme Court. But I'm hoping Manchin's not an issue. Really, Sinema is the one wild card, and we may not need her vote if all goes well anyway. But this is she's a safe nomination, not as safe as you can be in this political climate.
Mm-hmm,
We're getting even
mm-hmm.
50 votes is difficult. She already
There
got it,
are
and it was like a year ago.
Yeah, no, that's that's important. um so this should happen. You're proposing that it happen immediately. Your senator is proposing 6 months.
Oh, Feinstein's like we got time, not realizing that she's 90 and anybody goes, including her, then we don't have 50 votes and it's dead in the water. And Mitch
Yeah.
McConnell has promised flat out. He's said he will not move a Democratic Supreme Court justice while Biden is president, if he's got any say in the matter. So
Mm-hmm.
this notion that we have time when Breyer really should have retired years ago, back during the Obama administration, he should have him and RBG. There's a point where you've done it. You've been a Supreme Court justice for several decades.
Right.
It's okay to retire and enjoy a life of, I don't know, the speaker circuit, or maybe spend time with the grandkids, whatever. Conservatives do this very effectively, right? They bow out and then they nominate 30-year-olds, 40, young 40-year-olds that are going to be around for 40 years. And we're stuck with a 6-3 conservative court right now. And we're hanging on by a thread only because we pick up weird random votes from conservative justices on random issues, but that's not sustainable. And they have a that was more possible before, when it was a 6-4 court. A 5-4 court, a 6-3 court, right? It's difficult to create those coalitions. So we're going to be losing a lot at the Supreme Court. We do need to expand the Supreme Court. That needs to happen, but it ain't going to happen until we have, only can happen if we win control of the Senate, real control of the Senate this November, in a tough electoral year with limited number of pickup opportunities. But if it doesn't happen this year, it's not going to happen for another 6 years. That's how bleak the future maps look for us. So it has to happen this year. Otherwise, we're stuck with this for a long time. And this court is incredibly hostile to everything that we value.
When is Feinstein's seat back up?
I believe 2014.
2024, you mean?
Sorry, 24. Yeah, 24.
Okay.
Should have been up in 2014. But yeah, 2024. Although trying to remember, because I was very active in trying to primary her out, and it wasn't 2 years ago, so it would have been 4 years ago. So actually, she might be up. No, she's not up this year. Yeah, it's gonna be 2024.
Okay. Um, yeah. So hopefully this will be a drama-free situation. They can get it done. We'll still be 6-3 though, folks. I want to be clear, because she'll be replacing Breyer, right? So it's not like it'll go back, but at least we'll get. And for those of us, speaking to Markos's point about conservatives appointing someone young to serve for 3 decades, that's Clarence Thomas. He was appointed young, and he has been a disaster. And most recently, which I thought was interesting too, even Trump's appointees voted in favor of the January 6 documents being released. Clarence Thomas was the only justice, because that's what he is. He and his wife Jenny, speaking of lap dogs, he was the only one that voted against the release of the January 6 documents. Even Amy Coney Barrett.
Yeah, Jenny Thomas is a co-conspirator in the January 6th insurrection. I mean, she's right in there planning. I mean, her name's going to pop out in some of these documents. It's coming. So it was interesting. The decision actually was kind of interesting. They basically said that a former president can continue to assert executive privilege. Otherwise, they're like, any new president comes in and just releases everything, right? Which is not a bad point. I could be persuaded otherwise, but do we want the next president to come in and just release everything Biden did, right? Just for the heck of it. What they said is that those communications did not meet the standard of executive privilege, even if he was still president, which was actually kind of an interesting. And the idea being that this wasn't in the duties of being president. He was plotting a coup. That's not in the duties of being president. So it does not meet the standards of executive privilege. They didn't write those words. They kept it nice, short, and brief. But what it does is it signals that this court isn't gonna be favorable, other than Thomas, to the idea of a coup and undermining democracy. So at least that's a little bit of encouraging to me.
No, that is good. That is good to know. On the brief this week, you contemplated, did you not, the role that some moderate Republicans might play in helping Democrats this year, right?
Yeah, we had our guest this week was uh, the publisher of the Bulwark. Sarah Longwell. She is a never Trumper. She was a log cabin Republican back in the day, so she has a long history of sort of being a little bit out of step with her party, at least on social issues. And the Bulwark is a never Trumper publication of all these conservative writers that had been sort of kicked out of the conservative movement because they didn't support Donald Trump, and so they're really motivated in crushing Trumpism, even if it means making a temporary alliance with Democrats in back in 2020 and also this year and in 2024 as well, to try to stamp out Trump Republicans. And what they want is they want Mitt Romney Republicans. They want to get back to arguing over whether billionaires should have tax cuts or not. And quite frankly, it seems kind of nice, kind of nice to have a debate where we're not actually contemplating the demise of our democracy, and it's just a question of what the role of the state is in caring for people. Let's have that debate. So yeah, but it's really funny though, because she's a lifelong Republican, and she said, like, I never realized when I was on that side just how impossible it is for Democrats to engage in message discipline. They think we're like this monolith, right? Oh, the woke party, and they all have. We're not, right? I mean, we're a disparate coalition of people with different interests and priorities and life experiences, and getting all of us to repeat the same talking points isn't quite possible the way they can, because their party's just a bunch of old white men. It's really easy when your party is one people. So that's
And
the
and
challenge
and
that
one
we face.
issue, and one issue.
Mhm. Yeah, but I mean, she made it at this point. It comes down. Joe Biden needs to increase his popularity. That's a big one. He needs wins. I think the Supreme Court nomination is going to be a big win. I think he's going to get a lot of points from key base voters on this. And I even think suburban white women are going to like this Supreme Court pick. I think it's going to be a really, really popular one. I think he really needs to get on it with a $50,000 debt student debt relief. Like he needs wins, and we need to at this point build back better, throw it out, pick up some parts that that Manchin and Sinema will support, and just pass these standalones. Forget the omnibus; it's not going to happen. That ship sailed. See what can pass, and then start ratcheting up some of these victories, and start running on Democrats delivered. And already they did. They did with the stimulus bill, with the infrastructure bill. There's a lot of stuff there that Democrats can run on, and you start building this positive message, because Sarah Longwell, conducts focus groups. That's her day job, and she says that people don't understand what Democrats have done, because all they do is they see infighting. I mean, Manchin and Sinema have effed us to an impossible degree. So we need to quit that. We're gonna have plenty. I'm ready. I'm ready to put aside my hate for Kirsten Sinema and understand that can wait till after this midterm election. We can then gear up for 2024 and how we're gonna primary her. But right now, we have to really come together as a party, focus on what we can and have accomplished, and then really run hard on those things. All the while, there's a lot of wild cards. We're going to have the January 6th commission that's going to have hearings in prime time sometime in the months ahead. We're going to have the Supreme Court invalidating Roe v. Wade, right? That should activate, hopefully, will activate some of our core constituencies that don't vote as often, like young, single women. It's very low. Young people in general are a low performing group, right? Young women. Maybe, hopefully, this will activate young voters as well as suburban, swing voters. There's a lot happening, and then the big wild card is Trump. Trump's going to come in. He's going to Bigfoot. He's supporting crazy candidates that we can nationalize, like Herschel Walker, our favorite. and turn them into the party of Q, of wackadoodle Q. And then Trump hopefully will do his thing. Yeah, he'll motivate their party. But Sarah Longwell says that in her focus groups, Trump voters are voting no matter what. They are ready to go. So we don't have to worry about, will Trump get his people act? They're already activated. We saw that last year. We don't even need to guess at it. We don't need a focus group to tell us that. We saw it in Virginia, and we saw it in New Hampshire, New Jersey. So what we need to do then is, how do we activate our base? And if Trump's walking around doing his thing, stepping all over the place, that's going to help us as well. So it's going to be a tough year, but there's actually a lot of pieces in place that can help us pull this thing off. And I got to say, Civics has started polling the key Senate races privately. We're competitive in all of them. It's going to be one. Wisconsin's going to be like Wisconsin was in 2020. Whoever wins that Senate seat, Ron Johnson or whoever the Democrat is, it's going to be a couple thousand votes. Pennsylvania, it's going to be close. Florida, it's going to be close. Where else? Arizona and Georgia, they're going to be close. Nevada is going to be close. These are not North Carolina. So it's going to be a matter of degrees. Can we squeeze out an extra 1 to 2% of the vote? Maybe some of the Republican infighting will depress 1 or 2% of their vote. That's going to be that kind of year. I mean, we may come, when it's all said and done, we may be able to add up all the numbers and say 50,000 votes across 6 states were the difference between Republicans taking control and Democrats being able to grant statehood to D.C., pass the Voting Rights Act, expand the court, and all sorts of other good stuff. It's that kind of year. That's why we're going to all need to fight so hard and squeeze out every last vote we can in battleground districts and states.
You retweeted just some statistics I want to share, folks. John Kostelik tweeted, Breyer's replacement will be the 6th Democratic nominee since 1968, compared to 21 Republican nominees, and of the prior 26, 4 were Dems and 16 Republicans confirmed. David Neer also tweeted, Democrats have won more votes in 62% of presidential elections, but will have filled just 20% of Supreme Court seats.
Because our people freaking don't quit. They don't retire.
Right. They don't.
That's a big part of that. Part of that is luck, too.
Yeah. So we got to be about that for sure.
And keep in mind, it's been what, in 4 of the last 6 elections? Oh, I wish I had this number. I usually know this off the top of my head. Democrats, in the last 6 elections, Democrats have won the popular vote. And yet Republicans have held the White House for 6 of those years. No, 4, 8, 9, 10 of those years. 10 of the 24, and they haven't won the popular vote. This system is so broken. So broken.
Terribly broken. Folks, Thursday Kos, check out his weekly, the weekly show, The Brief. Also, the Anti-Vax Chronicles, Sobering. As I said, if you all got folks in your family still running, I don't know, send them to the Anti-Vax Chronicles as well so they can wake up. Markos has been documenting that for some time now. And also, if you haven't already, subscribe to dailykos.com. Become a part of the largest online progressive community there is. Thank you, Markos.
Thanks, Mark. Stay safe. See you next week.
You too.